So whenever I'm in the classroom, I enter with my experiences working in equipment and student-athlete support services. During my undergraduate program, I was able to work with Indiana University of Pennsylvania's Division II college football team. I love that experience working with them. I got to understand football operations. I got to observe coach-athlete relationships. I was helping out with practices. It was awesome. I got to manage others as I got older. One of the things that came out of that experience was the coaches learned that I was a good student and asked me to join the student-athlete support services systems that they had in place at IUP. And so I started doing that and I really enjoyed it. I learned that I had a passion for helping people understand and learn sport management or sport administration curriculum. And so I decided to pursue that going forward. And so in addition to those student-athlete experiences I had working at IUP, I also worked in student-athlete support as a content tutor at the University of Florida while pursuing my PhD. So I met with student-athletes and helped them organize their schedules, work through some of their assignments and things like that. So that was a definite passion of mine as I continued through my education. So within the sport administration program at Ball State, I teach 3 classes a semester. Typically I've taught 2 undergrad and 1 graduate. The undergrad classes I teach have been SPTA 300 Sport Law and SPTA 485 Sport Management. In the sport law class, I really have enjoyed that. It's been awesome what I usually try to do is I bring in real examples of what people in the sport industry are facing that day, and we talk about it as a class. I do think there's value in understanding, important or seminal court cases, but also, bringing in a story of like, hey, this person has just launched a suit against their university. It happened yesterday. What would you do if you're in their shoes? And so we have really good conversation around that. And the SPTA 485 class, that sport management class is a senior capstone kind of course. We learn about organizational theory and organizational leadership, but we also talk about professional development, which has become a really big, it's become really important to me to make sure that students are, getting the right tools to be successful and making sure that they're set up when they graduate to go and find the jobs in the fields they want to be in. In terms of the grad program, I've traditionally taught our graduate sport law course, and I've also taught the graduate version of the sport management course with organizational theory and professional development associated with it. I came to Ball State for essentially 3 reasons, one of which was the people. The people here are awesome. You can tell there's a genuine interest in wanting to see students succeed. When I came here, I learned a lot about this teacher-scholar model that they want faculty to care about. They want us to continue advancing our research lines, and obviously coming from the University of Florida, I was trained to be a researcher, but I love being in the classroom, and that's valued here. A lot of my time is spent in the classroom. A lot of my time is spent making sure that students are being challenged and developed in the right ways, and so the fact that's valued here was important. The people here are fun to work with. It's actually enjoyable to come to my office and kind of goof around and pal around with the people here. I mean, everyone's serious, but people also realize this is a fun environment, and so I enjoyed that. Another reason was opportunities. I thought that the things this program was doing before I got here were really cool. The fact that in the sales class, the students actually sell tickets. In the events class, the students actually, host an event. I thought there were some really cool opportunities here to add to that. I've been trying to get my students involved in projects for the Muncie Sports Commission here locally, and with working with project leadership and putting on the Ice League, which is a basketball tournament that helps children and middle schoolers in this area sign up for the 21st Century Scholars Program. There's a lot of really cool ways and opportunities that are here locally to get students experience outside of just sitting in the classroom and getting education. And the last one was climate. I'll admit, I'm from Northwest Pennsylvania, and I am always going to be appreciative of my time in Florida, but I needed my 4 seasons, and I love the fact that we have all of them here. So those are some of the things that brought me to Ball State. My teaching style is really just focused on the idea that I'm not teaching robots. I don't want students who are just going to know the 4 elements of negligence, can recite that for an exam, and they move on. I really want to challenge students to become critical thinkers. I want them to see themselves as potential activists or catalysts for social change. My research area is on diversity and inclusion in sport. There's a lot of cool opportunities in sport to see change happen, and so I think the focus here has always just been getting these students to realize that they're going into an industry where they have so much of an opportunity to make such a cool impact, and they should be taking advantage of it. In the classroom, I try to be, humorous, try to introduce real-world examples like I talked about with sport law, where we say, hey, here are things that people are actually facing today. This lawsuit was filed yesterday, let's talk about it today, and things of that nature. And I also try to create a peer-to-peer learning environment where I get them to talk to each other and to, share their thoughts and opinions to then bring back to the larger group. And so that's kind of my approach to teaching and the way I enter a classroom. My overall teaching goal is to help prepare students to get into the industries they want to be in. And I think that involves three things. One is it involves helping them identify the pathways they need to go down. So starting next year, I'm going to be teaching our intro course. And I think it's really important to help students realize that there are steps they can be taking now in the classroom to set themselves up for success, aside from just hoping when I graduate and I have the degree, I'm going to shoot my shot and see what happens. There are ways that they can be making sure they're doing the right things by identifying what are the people in the positions they want to be in, what did those people do, and how do I kind of emulate that while I'm in school. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is making sure that they're getting experience and building a network. So as I talked about with our program, being experiential in a way of giving students opportunities in the classroom to do things that they can put on their resume is, that's awesome. And we should be doing that. We should also be encouraging them to make sure that they're connecting with people in the fields they want to be in. And then lastly, it's giving them tools in their toolbox, helping them realize that, whatever industry they want to be in, that there's an applicable piece of whatever we're talking about. So if you're taking sport law, for some people, they might sit in the class and say, I don't know if I need to know about risk management. And you might not, depending on your field. But intellectual property law, maybe that's really important for you. And so helping them realize that there are certain things in my class and everybody's classes that they're going to want to make sure they remember and take with them so they can use that in real world settings.